and violence when it comes to the Southern Posse. I like to talk about the brutality and violence. These guys can wrestle. Rick Thames and Sonny T were trained by the great Malenko. They're great chain wrestlers. They can go toe-to-toe. They'll bleed till the end of time. They can do anything. They are great professional wrestlers, great entertainers. They've been to Puerto Rico, Japan. They've wrestled for all the major corporations, companies, all the way down to the bottom barrel flea market groups. They don't care. They like to fight, and they like to get paid for it.
That's a very good point you bring up there, Ron, because the hardcore and IPW hardcore wrestling doesn't just stand for blood and guts. It doesn't just stand for chairs and tables. It means hardcore in every aspect of the word, which means old school training, which means you can wrestle, which means with or without a weapon, you can go toe-to-toe for 30 minutes and beat the hell out of your opponent and have a beer with him later on that night. We are IPW hardcore wrestling, and that means so much more than people give it credit for.
These wrestlers aren't weekend warriors, Aaron. They're not the type of guys that come in there, want to roll around for a few minutes, get some garbage payday, and then go home and say, hey, I'm a wrestler, look at me. These guys eat, sleep, and live professional wrestling. They train daily. They're constantly going at it. They're elevating talent. Look at the fist drop.
Steel off the top rope. These two teams are very reminiscent of the 80s tag teams and what you've seen lately from some of the WWF teams like the Hardys, Edge, and Christian. Double team maneuvers, which used to be a staple in tag team wrestling. It got lost for a while, but it's coming back out of IPW in the form of Quickiemart. Nice double boots to the top of the head of Agent Steel.
Agent Steel can take punishment. Unbelievable kick to the small of the back. Agent Steel could take punishment like none other when it comes to the young competitors of IPW hardcore. He is a product of the Florida WrestlePlex, the best wrestling school in the business today.
Sonny T with the cowbell and rope, choking him out in the corner. Now that's some old school tag team wrestling.
They'll do what it takes to win. They don't care. It might be a cliche. Star Stevens, why is it that every single referee falls for this? How many? Do you think if they've ever watched wrestling on TV, they'd understand that that's what we call the false tag? And they're missing something going on behind their back, Aaron?
Yeah, you would think so, but I think when they taught that class, Star was fixing his teeth. Here we go. Rick Thames, the former hardcore champion, putting the clubber in, as Dusty Rhodes might say, onto Agent Steel. They've done a very good job of keeping Yasser Arafat out of this match and just working on one of their opponents. If you can take away one of your two opponents, you're doing your job.
Oh, Jesus.
Nice back kick by Rick Thames there. Let me tell you, he's feeling that now. I'll tell you what.
He's feeling it for at least 2 to 3 weeks after. That is unbelievable. Rick Thames, unbelievably and deceptively agile and quick. Like a cat, if you will.
Meow. All right, here we go. Some stalling techniques by the old school posse down on the mat. Star Stevens checking for a chokehold, but I think he's just got the headlock in there. And Yasser Arafat and Mark's out trying to get the crowd into it. These guys are so over, it's ridiculous. I guarantee you, they alone could pack the WrestlePlex. It's unbelievable how these kids have been elevated in IPW. Beautiful sunset flip, this could be it. No, he takes out. You are right, Ron. The young guys really do pack the place down. They have lots of friends in the area, lots of fans that have come from that. These young guys, along with Mark Zout, along with Sage and Aki, and unfortunately, even along with the turncoat Rod Steele, they all have many, many fans both across the internet on our website, which you can visit at ipw-hardcore.com. Just all over the area, these guys are very popular. They're going places here in IPW.
You can see all 4 of these competitors and Star Stevens and Mark Zout at Frankie's in Ybor on September 5th. It's going to be a tremendous show. It's going to be hardcore. It's going to be violent. The Quickiemart, they are unbelievable. You think what you see on TV is good when it comes to Quickiemart? Oh my God. Yasser Arafat just takes a shot from Rick. You don't seem to like that, Aaron.
That's what you get for trying to drink a slushie at ringside. You need to pay attention when you're going up against anybody, but much less the Southern Posse. You may be popular, Yasser, but that wasn't very smart.
I might just not be understanding.
Nice cross body there, but the referee's nowhere to be found. He shouldn't fall for that either, should he?
Star falls for pretty much everything that you learn in refereeing 101. Unbelievable.
Well, he did learn at the NWA School of Referees.
Well, that explains that. A cowbell to the
head by nowhere. Oh my God.
That's it.
1, 2, 3, and Quickiemart gets the win. That is a big, big win for Quickiemart.
That's a huge win.
Probably their biggest win to date. But let's not forget, coming up September the 5th, Frankie's Ybor, they will be meeting your boys, the Shane Twins.
It has already been signed. The Shane brothers against IPW Tag Team Champions. Quickiemart get their shot on September 5th.
Should be good, fans. Make sure to be there.
It's going to be unbelievable.
hardcore giant Ron Niemi. Ron, please come have a seat here next to me.
What the hell is this, Aaron?
I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure we could see eye to eye for this segment, because we don't often see eye to eye, literally. But what Chaos did to you, what he did to IPW, is unacceptable.
It's ridiculous is what it is. As a matter of fact, let's go to the
All
footage.
right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're talking about. There you see it. Two-time former IPW heavyweight champion, the Cuban assassin, who was being used by Ron Niemi in a proper way when nobody else was giving him any respect, has turned his back on IPW. He's an IPW turncoat. He's an NWA loyalist. Now you see coming to the ring in the red shirt, that's Frankie Reyes, the senior official of NWA Florida. And then you see, about to grab the mic here in just a minute, from the Cuban assassin, is NWA Florida Board of Directors member Mark Nolte. And no, that's not Ricky Santana over there. That's the IPW turncoat Rod Steele, who, unfortunately, even though he's with the NWA, is now the IPW light heavyweight champion. Let's just listen to some of these comments, these ridiculous comments that these guys have to say here. You see, they called you out, Ron Niemi. You came down to a huge, huge pop from the crowd, I might add, which is unusual considering how you usually talk to these fans, which I think you are going to bring up here in just a second. Ron, this was all about you. I'm going to just pretty much stay quiet for a couple minutes, let you take over at this point.
The fact that the fans popped in the least bit when I walked out talks about the loyalty, the hardcore blood that runs deep in every fan, every wrestler, and every office member of IPW Hardcore Wrestling. People like Frankie Reyes, Mark Nolte, Cuban Assassin, Fantasy, and Rod Steele, they come in here and insult the intelligence of myself and anybody that stood by IPW over the years. These fans pay their hard-earned money each and every show. Now they're going to come in and try to steal the ownership of the Florida WrestlePlex. They're going to come in and try to boot Ron Niemi out of IPW. The truth of the matter is, Howard Brody is coming up for re-election for the NWA presidency. That's a fact. That's not some big storyline. That's not something I'm trying to swerve the fans on. Howard Brody is not going to be re-elected as the NWA president. Ron Niemi and the Florida WrestlePlex and IPW Hardcore Wrestling will continue as planned. We will get bigger. We will get stronger. We are on TV weekly now. NWA isn't. They waste our time. They waste their energy. They're going to bleed for their troubles.
Not to interrupt you here, but you're about to talk, and I know we all know you like to hear yourself talk, so let's just hear what you had to say here back at the WrestlePlex. Another big pop from the crowd. Right, fans, you heard him call him out. The icon, if you will, of IPW wrestling. They call him This Is Chaos. I tell you what, everybody was popping really big. Everybody's excited, but what comes here in a few minutes, Ron, I can hardly even watch.
The one ace I thought I had up my sleeve, the one man that I thought I could definitely count on, the man who was, I must admit, stripped of the IPW hardcore title.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you again there, Ron, but fans, you see that sickle right there in his hand. That's going to be important in just a second. Let's not forget the last time the Chaos came out when you're in the ring with a bunch of NWA guys, namely the Heavenly Bodies. He came out and cleaned house, and you guys formed sort of a partnership after years of feuding. Even that being as tenuous as it was, I never ever saw this coming.
What a setup by Chaos. Howard Brody's been in his wallet. He's been in his pocketbook. He's been paying Chaos off for months since the beginning of this entire debacle. Chaos knew exactly what he was doing. He set me up for this disaster.
If you don't want to watch, if you don't want to comment on yourself, but there he goes. He takes you out, turning his back on you and all of IPW. Screw you, Chaos. Who do you think you are? All right, Ron, what was going through your head at this point?
Truthfully, a sickle, a giant knife. Chaos is digging into the side of my head, and I don't care if we're hardcore, folks. I'm not even going to show the other camera angle because it was disgusting what he was doing to me, and I'm not going to condone that type of sickness on TV.
We probably couldn't even get what he did to you on TV. To see that, you have to be there live and in person, either at the WrestlePlex or in Ybor City or anywhere else we might run. But Ron, this was brutal, even by IPW standards. And finally, the locker room gets wind of what's going on. Here comes Jet Jaguar. Mark's out in the ring. NWA guys holding their own for a while here, but pretty soon you see the numbers just get too big for them to handle. There's Mike Sullivan in the ring in the purple and orange, who had just beaten the Cuban Assassin by DQ, so he didn't win the WWC Puerto Rican title, but he did win the match. And here they are beating you down. But the IPW guys taking over in the corner. There's
Phil, Jet Jaguar, Mike Sullivan, Von Tankard, Quickiemart, IPW as a unit coming to the aid of the hardcore giant, and this is the beginning of the end of Rod Steele.
Okay, and it's going to a whole new level next week. IPW versus NWA right here on TV. But to close this segment out, let's listen to what Mike Sullivan has to say.